Mr. Nick Gowing and Ms. Enos Poole.
Good afternoon. For those who just joined us now, we want to do a quick reminder of what that is. That's not another think tank. That's something we want to get you guys engaged. It's called #NATO Engages, so you also can Twitter. It's actually the most trending tweet so far in Washington. It's pretty good. So keep fueling this. What we are doing now for 10 minutes, we really want to talk a little bit about the speech of, obviously, Mr. Stoltenberg. And we have two honored chosen men who are going to start this. But first of all, Nick, give us a little of your thoughts.
Yeah,
what did we hear?
I would like also to remind you that there are a lot of people watching out there who are not in Washington, who are wondering what NATO is about, a young public as well, and they are watching, looking for indications of where NATO is and where it's going. Let me just pick up on one thing, one element of what we've just heard the Secretary General say. He talked about the danger of being naive in this current environment. He talked about only being at the beginning when it comes to the digital challenges, and he's going to be here shortly. But he made it clear that there's a lot of uncertainty around. And I'm here, as you can see from the program, no longer as a television presenter, but as the founder and director of Thinking the Unthinkable. And we have been identifying a large number of things which were never seen, like Crimea. And that's what you've just heard from the Secretary General. He said, we've seen how difficult it is now to predict the future. We have to be prepared for insecurity. We have to have a strategy to deal with the uncertainty. Strong NATO enables us to do just that. And the reason I'm laying this down as a challenge is for the next 4 hours, take yourselves to the cutting edge of the unthinkables. Of the unpalatables, which are not really something you want to think about, but should be thinking about for the benefit of nature. Being unthinkable, doing unthinkables, what else should be on the agenda, as opposed to that cozy, incremental assumption that things are moving in the right direction. Think from the other end of the curve and the rainbow. Ines.
So, Barry Posen, get out of the comfort zone. Oh, sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I start with you, Pizzi, sorry. You just heard what Nick said. Do you agree with him? What are your thoughts? I just give a little update who you are. You're the Executive Director of Strategic Communications and, that I like a lot, Talent Development. That's a cool title. So, Pete, what do you make out of the speech?
Thank you very much. I should also add, I'm also an Atlantic Council Millennium Fellow. Two takeaways from my perspective as someone from the middle of the country, from the heartland of America. And first and foremost was this stunning display of unity. You had Republicans and Democrats, rural, urban, red state, blue state, senators, members of the House of Representatives, standing in solidarity with NATO, with our fellow 28 member alliance, soon to be a 29th, hopefully coming soon, and showing that we do stand together. And we'll see another display of that solidarity and unity when the former governor of my home state of Indiana, a personal friend, Mike Pence, graces the stage here in about an hour or so. The other thing I would say, and this kind of is a reflection on what we've heard earlier today, is that I know there's some frustration about the unconventional methods of our unconventional president. But these are unconventional times, and they require an unconventional response to our adversaries in what is a traditionally conventional alliance. And that means burden sharing across the board. That means people stepping up, our country stepping up to the plate to increase defense spending. That is critical to meeting these challenges of today and tomorrow, as we have heard many times here.
But don't we talk too much about sharing the burden and too little about what Nick really pointed out, that we are in very crucial times and that we have to move a step further, to think the unthinkable, to face the fact that we pretty much know nothing about the future.
Fair point, and I think what was discussed in the final panel here about artificial intelligence and technology, it's not just a challenge that NATO faces. It's a challenge that every single person in this world faces. We don't truly understand what's coming. We don't have a plan for deep fakes, for AI, for automation, for all these things that are right directly in front of us. And it's going to take that burden sharing and the increased spending to make a better plan.
Thank you very much. But now I will come to the real Barry Posen. Sorry for that. Are you right? Is he right? What he said?
Well, I agree with some part of it. The Secretary General made a principled and moving speech, and he made it in a very special venue, and that carries some a political message. But I would say don't let the mood of the room obscure the deeper political situation in the United States, and particularly concerning the constituents of the people who were in that room. American people have a lot of concerns right now about American national security policy, about the appearance of endless war, about very high defense spending and the demand for more, right? And I would have liked to have heard in this speech a stronger commitment from the Secretary General to try and address the burden sharing question, and not simply rehearsing whether or not some countries are meeting 2% or not, or whether the Allies collectively found another $100 billion over the last several years, but to actually look at the pretty deep hole that European militaries are in from really years of underspending, and the need to basically fix up a lot of basic capabilities. And if you're concerned about uncertainty, the worst uncertainties are always to our minds, the most unlikely, which is a return to actual aggression. So that work needs to be done, and it comes against the backdrop of a United States that is very, very concerned about what's happening in the Pacific, and faces a potential challenger that could give us a run for our money. Now, here in this room, people have alluded, perhaps to NATO taking some role in dealing with China, but one of the principal roles that European NATO could play would be to take some of the weight off the American military in this part of the world. The American military is also tired. It's tired from essentially 20 years of constant war. And a good way to provide some help here would be for Europeans to do more to defend themselves. And given the success of the alliance that we built, free, prosperous, technologically sophisticated states whose resources together dwarf those of Russia, it's simply, it sort of defies the imagination that the United States of America still has to provide such a tremendous weight of the resources needed to secure this part of the world.
Thank you so much. So this is a more critical approach to the speech. Any other thoughts? We have another couple of minutes. I would like to bring you in. No? Still tired from lunch break?
They were all that impressed. No, okay. Shall we move on?
We should.